This week, we have quite the project. All right, let me break this down. Look how clean this thing is, first of all. She is so clean. Just don't look at the other side, okay? It has developed a new issue from after I got it, okay? This is a 94 Jeep Grand Cherokee, has the 5.2, the leather interior, everything except the sunroof. 185,000 miles, picked it up for $1,100. A little much, but I think I can still make some profit on it, okay? Mechanically, it did run good when I bought it. I started it just 30 seconds ago to pull it in the garage, and we have developed quite the little shake. Pretty sure we have a misfire there somewhere. So that's cool. We will be pulling all of the spark plugs and probably doing a full tune-up on this thing. We also have what he thought, the guy I bought it from, was an oil leak, but I don't think it is. So right here behind your harmonic balancer is your front main seal. Look at all that moisture. He thinks it's leaking oil, but why don't you take a look at that drop right there that is forming. That don't look like oil, does it? That looks like coolant. And that definitely doesn't look like oil. And neither does that. And if you look right down by the thermostat housing, there's a puddle of coolant right there. Where could this leak be coming from? Probably the thermostat. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this, but watch the shake. Watch it shake. I tried, can't really tell in the video, but it's shaking, it's rough idling, it's definitely missing on a cylinder. So she's getting a tune-up, she's getting a new thermostat, potentially a new water pump, and this all has to be done before we even touch the body on this thing. Needs to be solid mechanically. And check this out. This thing is like a freaking balloon, dude. I can't squeeze any of this. I don't think sometimes there's springs in these, but not. This feels like there's freaking air in there. That's weird. And they are wet. Wet with gas. That could be an injector problem. Pulled next one, it's dry. So yes, a leaky injector could cause this, but if most of these come out dry, because of how it's running, it could actually be a bad spark plug wire. So 5 out of the 8 plugs were a little wet and smell like fuel, okay? Which means we could have a slight misfire on each one, either bad wires, bad plugs, because it doesn't feel like we have a full misfire on 5 of them, or we have some leaky injectors. Now, like I said, the injector rail looks like it's been replaced. The injectors are definitely not original injectors. But what we're gonna do, obviously since I have the spark plugs out, we're just gonna prime the system a couple times and with the fuel gauge on it. And we're gonna let it sit for 15 to 30 minutes. Fuel pressure should be about 35 to 45 at prime. I think more like 35 at prime. And it shouldn't drop lower than 20 PSI within that 30 minutes. If it does, we've got an injector leak. If it doesn't, we could just have an ignition issue. That's weird. There we go. Well, it's actually been about 20 minutes and we've only leaked down about 10 PSI, which is within the acceptable range. So I'm honestly gonna say we had some really fouled plugs and they just weren't firing like they should, which is why there's still fuel on them. That's what we're gonna go with. If it was a leaky injector, usually you'd leak down a lot quicker than that and the car wouldn't just start right up. Leaky injectors can't hold the pressure, so it doesn't allow the car to start right up like this one did after 2 weeks of sitting. So we are gonna go pick up some brand new Champions, because these look like they have not been changed in a very long time. They're pretty rusty here too. And the wires are still Mopar wires, probably original, because they don't usually sell those anymore. And I'm pretty sure the cap and rotor is still original, so full tune-up, and then we'll get a thermostat changed out on this as well. Then we can start on bodywork. I didn't even show you that. Guys, he was hit. Somebody pulled out in front of him and just destroyed it. Even the hood got destroyed. Luckily, it didn't really destroy this support right here. It's all still straight how it should be. It did bend this part in a little bit, and it did bend this in a little bit, the headlight buckets, but that's nothing we can't fix. A little bit of elbow grease. And we have a new fender for it, but we do have to paint it because I could not find a color matched one. We do have a color matched hood, but it is completely faded. It's basically like a matte silver now. So we just got to buff that out, get it all shiny, and we will be back in business. Well, everything's back on. Again, we still have the original coil. We're just going to try that. I did find a vacuum leak though. This was just resting right on the throttle body port right there. Of course, it's hard as a rock, so, oh geez, it's very hard to get off. So I gotta try to get this off, we'll fix this leak, and then we'll fire it up, make sure she runs nice and smooth. It does run better, it does. I think it needs some motor mounts, but it doesn't, it's not missing as bad as it was, which is a good thing. So, I know you can't see it, but the reason the thermostat is leaking is because this bolt here was not tightened down all the way. I don't know if there's something blocking it, if it's too rusty, but obviously coolant's gonna leak out of there when it's not tightened down properly. So I got the thermostat pulled apart, and they actually did have the bolt in all the way, but they've double nutted it. You see that? And the reason being, they stripped out the rear thermostat hole, and I guess they put this on there because it grabs just enough threads to where it will tighten with this nut on there. Now there's two options. I could leave it like this, or I could throw a nut cert in there, which would involve drilling it out, you know, throwing a nut cert in there, and a little bit of a smaller bolt because it needs to be a fairly big hole to get a bolt this size in a nut cert. So I'm gonna stick with this for right now. If it torques to spec, we'll be fine. I don't think they had it torqued, but they also did not use RTV on the surface, and the surface is super scored and dinged up. They have not taken care of it. So I'm gonna put a ton of right stuff on there, and she should seal right up. I'm really not too worried about it. I'm just hoping that that's the main source of the leak and the water pump itself is not leaking. So let me throw this back together, and then we'll get to this body damage. Okay, well, thermostat's on. We're letting silicone dry really quick, and then we'll put it back together. But here's what we're working with. Fender's wrecked. This whole middle headlight support's wrecked. Bumper's wrecked. Hood's wrecked. So we're gonna take this apart, and we'll pull this fender off, and we'll start putting it back together, and then make sure the fender lines up good before we paint it, and then we'll start with paint since the fender I got does not match. Oh, I hurt this freaking finger, dude. It's been bruised under the nail for so long. I keep trying to avoid it, and every time I try to avoid it, I hit it even harder. Ow. Oh, that hurts so bad. Okay, I got all of our mounting holes drilled out, so the new one will just plop right there. This is about as straight as I can get it. I might work with it for now, or try to keep working on it a little bit, but it should bolt fairly straight on there. And then everything here should line up from that point on, and we'll still have our secure point down here. You know, I do want to learn how to do body work the proper way, but right now I don't have the resources to do that. So I'm gonna make do with what I got. And honestly, it's still gonna turn out good. So I'm gonna stand still today because the junkyards are closed, but we can work on the new fender. Obviously this one's green, we're gonna repaint it. So we need to get this emblem off. They did like the frickin' 3D emblems on the first generations. Once that's off, we can just sand this thing down. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna be able to recreate the pinstriping. I can't really find it online. I'm pretty sure that's just painted on. I mean, I can try, but I don't got a straight hand. But it'll still look fine. Get the metal hot, and I think coming from the backside should still release the glue. Oh, dude, that works perfectly. Look how perfect that was, dude. So I don't have the paint stripper wheel that I thought I did. I've actually used all of it on, I think, that 3-wheeler that I did a couple videos ago. Anyways, I do have a flap disc. These are, I mean, they will strip the paint, but they're a lot more aggressive. So if you're not careful, it can sand down too far and make your fender uneven. So I'm going to lightly use this to at least strip any of the chunky stuff away. Good morning. This has been running for about 30 minutes. Good news, no more thermostat leak. Bad news, the water pump leaks out of the bottom part of the seal. So we're gonna have to fix that. And I noticed when I rev it, it'll go up and then it would die. So I unplugged the idle air control and it seems to have kind of smoothing out. So we'll be replacing the idle air control, or at least cleaning it, cleaning the port, and checking the other sensors, making sure all those are okay. But aside from that, she's running nice and smooth. I'm glad the thermostat is sealed up, but yeah, we need to do the water pump. Water pump's on, bypass hose is on. We're gonna give it an hour, torque it down, and we'll throw everything back together and she'll be ready to fire up here pretty shortly. But since we have an hour, I'm gonna go pick up the spray paint for the fender. It's almost done being sanded. We'll hang it up and we'll start painting it. This thing's pretty smooth, pretty nice and sanded down. There's a couple small imperfections. Okay, I may or may not have made some imperfections with the grinder, but they're not horrible. They're more just like, it's smooth, they're just a little rough. Surprisingly, I still had some primer laying around, some gray, which is very close to the silver on the car. Here's the test. Here's the paint. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of a close match. Like, close enough, right? I mean, because it's hard to tell. So hopefully this comes out good. I gave him the color code. These older ones have this tag right here, and your color code is this PFA right here. So that's what they made it after. So I guess we'll see. So I just realized that right after that clip that the color code on this says PSA and I need PFA. So I'm gonna run back real quick and see if they can make me a new one. Because that would explain why that doesn't look right. So I'll be right back. Well, 45 minutes later, I'm back in the car. We had trouble finding the right color. The color they gave me was just straight up silver. Didn't have any of the reds or yellows that this paint has in it apparently. PFA on these older Jeeps, it's not really an existent color anymore. It comes out as Prairie Pearl. My car is not Prairie Pearl. This Jeep is a light driftwood satin glow is what the build sheet said that I finally looked up. It is morning. It is nice and chilly outside and she is all warmed up. There's no leaks coming from the water pump, none from the thermostat. Had to run our makeshift funnel with tape on the bottom. Did not stop any leaks, but kept the funnel from falling off. So now we can run and go grab the paint for this guy, run to the junkyard and get that fender support I was talking about that's gonna bolt right there, and start getting this thing put back together. Dang, dude, it's gonna be close, but it's still gonna be noticeable, unfortunately. Might need to take back what I said, guys. This is actually starting to somewhat match the car. Check it out, dude. That thing is solid. Only part we did not put in was there, but I don't think that's gonna be a huge issue. This is literally just to support the bottom of the fender and the side of the bumper. But we're in the original hole, so I think it's gonna line up almost perfectly. Probably not, but we have our support now. It's in there solid. I really don't think I need to weld it at all. I have lock washers on there. So we're ready to put the front header panel on. If y'all need anything fabricated, just hit me up. I am obviously good at what I do and know what I'm doing. Well, she lines up. I need to get some stuff swapped over, and then I can get this thing bolted on here. We're gonna be looking like a Jeep in no time. We are on to our final coat, and that's our clear coat. So don't use Walmart clear coat. For some reason it left like a weird gooey sticky line that's not drying. And so now I have to resand down this whole half of the fender and repaint it. It's really annoying and I'm really pissed off right now, but I gotta do it. So I definitely did not screw up the fender and have to resand the whole thing and order another bottle of paint because I'm out so that I can repaint it tomorrow. But if I did do that, it's because it wasn't a paint problem, it was a me problem. I did not let the last coat of paint dry fully before I put the clear coat on. Because the clear coat hardens, it caused some weird reaction. I don't know how it works, where it kind of made the paint kind of gooey in some spots and it looked off. I discolored it. So I messed up. I sanded it back down, took out my anger on that sander, got her way smoother than it ever was, and we'll just redo it. It's always a solution. Sometimes it just sucks. So in the meantime, because they can't get the paint to me, what I have here is my throttle position sensor. Like I showed you, when it warms up and you rev it, it kind of like revs up and then comes back down and either stall or it'll come back down like it wants to stall and the idle will jump back up. It can either be your idle air control, dirty throttle body, throttle position sensor, or a vacuum leak. I don't think I have a vacuum leak. I've gone through all the lines. I will go through them again if I have to. But I do have a spare one of these, so I'm gonna throw it on. Okay, we're back. We got the throttle position sensor in, our new one, and oil. We're warmed up. Let's rev it, see what happens. That is what it should do. So it looks like we had a bad throttle position sensor that whole time. So this guy is going in the garbage can. She gone. Okay, so we went and we got some new paint. 60 bucks later, we're doing this again. Now, I mean, that's my bad. So here's the hood. It's the exact same color, and luckily the clear coat the clear coat has not peeled. So I'm gonna do, because I mean the little shine it has gone away. I'm gonna sand this down with my 400 grit, and because we're already using existing primer and paint that's on here, I'm just gonna start throwing the base coat on, and we should be able to get enough coverage out of those two cans to do the fender and this one, and then we'll clear coat them both in the morning. We are almost there, guys. Almost there. Actually, I'm not gonna do it in the morning. I have to go to Utah in the morning, but we're close. So real quick, here's a before of the clean hood. The paint is actually in pretty good condition. It's just the shine has faded away. And we're gonna bring that back. I've heard stuff about those and I've used those. Wrong thing. I have heard good stuff about the Megulars polish and the Megulars compound. Where did I just put that? I have no clue. Oh, right here. The compound, right here. So it's supposed to make your paint go from that to that, right? So we're gonna follow the directions. We're gonna do it the correct way. And hopefully we can get some shine back to this, at least enough to match the paint somewhat. I'll be honest, it's better. It's not what I was hoping it'd be, so I think we're still gonna stick with the plan of, if I have enough paint, we might throw a layer over this. So I have the hood loosely back on there. I mean, I'm not gonna have enough paint for it, and unfortunately, those guys, I mean, they helped, but didn't do what I thought. So, I mean, we're out 30 bucks, but what can you do? I threw it on. It's not gonna look horrible. The good news is the hood is mainly all one color. So, one faded hood and everything else looks good. Easy, $3 still. Sometimes, especially in these older cars, you just gotta compromise one thing for another. I'd rather have the fender looking good than the hood, just cause, I don't know, you don't really notice the hood as much as you notice the side of the car. We are so close to back together. Literally a fender and a bumper, and she'll be good to go. So, I've only ever driven it around the neighborhood of the guy I bought it from, so we'll see how it does on the freeway. I think it'll do just fine. What a lovely test drive. She runs phenomenal. So now I'm kind of a sitting duck. I'm letting that cure till tomorrow morning before I put the emblem on and put it back on the Jeep. So, oh, and I can't put this on until I have the fenders on, just makes it easier. So, I'm gonna work on cleaning out this thing. It ain't that bad, guys. I mean, there's some trash. There's a ton of dog fur back here. We'll get it all cleaned out, all purdied up, and then tomorrow we'll go find a radio for it, get that thrown in, and the interior will be done. Look at that pile of dog hair, dude. Ew. Bumper is finally on. Looking a lot better. The only part I hate is how they cut it right there, but what can you do? Can't be picky. It's the only really non-clean part of the car. I really don't think someone's gonna care too much about that. Fender's also on. I tried gluing the emblem on, and unfortunately the 3M adhesive did not work the best, so I might figure something out for that, but at the same time, it also looks good without the emblem, so I don't care too much about that either. Our hood closes nice. Look at those lines. Oh yeah. Lines there. It's not shut all the way, but look at that. Let's see. Dude. Can't even tell. So now I'm gonna finish cleaning out the interior, wipe it down, get it all nice and clean, free of dog hair. Then we'll give it a wash and post it for sale. See you later. She is off to Wyoming. So of course, yet another good Jeep, as they all are. I had that posted for about maybe a little over 24 hours before I sold it. Like I said, I always sell these things quick. That's why I like them. And they're so easy to work on. Anyways, I actually bought that one for $1,100 as is, which at the time I thought was a little much, but they had enough going for it that I took the risk. So we bought it for $1,100. After parts and everything that we did to it, we were in it $1,675.72. We sold it for $3,500 on the dot, which leaves me with a profit of $1,874.28. Pretty good for a week's worth of work, I'd say. Guys, I'm pumping these out. I'm buying all the Jeeps. I'm sorry. Once again, though, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next Jeep video.